In this video, we're going to look at how to track your spending in Excel. This process will have 5 steps. You're going to want to download your transactions from your bank online, delete the unnecessary transactions and copy them to the worksheet transactions, categorize by the expense type, then total by category of expense, and copy to the worksheet spending to review your spending. Step 1 is to get transactions from your bank. What you'll want to do is go to your online banking. It's better to do this through a browser rather than through your mobile phone. Each of the banks in Canada will have some sort of download function, allowing you to extract your transactions either over a specific period or over all periods available as a CSV or text file. You're going to want to go to all of your checking and credit card accounts and potentially your savings accounts if that's used for spending. You're not going to want to select using one of the programs that's available. I do use Quicken and I have used Microsoft Money in the past, but for this exercise we're going to use Excel. Here I've logged into my RBC account. I've pulled up my checking account, which is showing daily transactions. I've selected transactions for the last month. Usually you will see a list of transactions in descending order. They may be classified as withdrawals and deposits. We're going to be focused on withdrawals. You can see that there's 37 transactions here, and you're going to want to find the download option. Here I click download. You can see here that it does allow download to different accounting software such as Quicken, Microsoft Money. We're going to use comma delimited files for Excel. And I'm going to be looking only at my checking and credit card accounts. And I'm going to look at all transactions on file, continue. You can see that the file has been now put into my download folder. So you can see the CSV file with the transactions is now in my downloads folder. I simply click on it to open it in Excel. You can see that it's opened, but some of the columns are too narrow to show the content. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click in the very top left corner such that the cells are all selected. I'm going to double click in between and it will expand it to show all the details. Step 2 is to delete unnecessary transactions. You're going to want to focus on your expenses or your spending and ignore the cash inflows or deposits. One easy way to do that is to sort the transactions by the amount. Negative numbers will be expenses or outflows, and positive numbers will be deposits or inflows. You're going to want to delete any inflows that come from, say, your income, from investments, or transfers. The reason for deleting transfers is that we're going to capture the credit card transactions directly, and the payment of the credit card is not going to be counted. You're also going to want to keep any transactions that may be related to spending that you did, such as splitting a bill at a restaurant where you get reimbursed, or if you return an item to the store and get refunded. And now I'm going to select all the data by highlighting the cells, the columns that I would like, holding the Shift, Control, and the down arrow. And I'm going to go Data, Sort. And what I want to do is I'm telling it my data has headers. I'm going to select the header for column D, which is amount. And I'm going to sort it from smallest to largest. Okay. I only want to look at expenses or spending, which are going to be negative numbers. So I'm going to go all the way to the bottom. You can see here that there are some transactions that are positive. I'm going to again notice that when I increase the size, it's not showing the cell completely. There you go. I've got interest income, salaries, and a transfer. I'm going to delete those transactions. Now going back to the top, Control up arrow, I'm going to expand the column here again. Okay, I've got all my transactions. I can select them, sort them by date if I like. from oldest to newest. Now I'm ready to copy and paste these transactions into my Excel spreadsheet. I'm going to select all the transactions I want to copy by going to the top left corner, holding the Shift key, and then going down until I have all of them. And I'm going to hit Control Copy. I'm using a keyboard shortcut, Control C. I'm now switching to my empty template, which I have open. Put it in the spot top left corner where I would like to paste it, and I right click and hit Paste Special Values. And there you can see all of my transactions are now in this first worksheet, number 1, transactions. Step 3 is to categorize transactions by expense type. I've set up a number of categories here. You can see covering both tuition and expenses for university, your non-discretionary or fixed expenses, as well as your discretionary or variable expenses. These categories are pretty comprehensive. You can change them later for when you do this yourself. For this exercise, we're going to stick with these categories. You'll find them as column headings in your spreadsheet called transactions. And you're going to want to go to each of the downloaded transactions and type the word for the category in the column labeled category. Notice that if you misspell it or if you use different capitalization, Excel will not be allocating it to different columns. Now I'm going to categorize transactions by entering a label in the column E. I'm going to look at the transactions and decide what they are. Here I can see that there was a withdrawal that was sent to another account, so I'm going to call that a transfer. I'm going to ignore transfers. I can see that I have clothing or a pair of shoes. Home hardware I'm going to put under miscellaneous. Shoppers Drug Mart, I'm going to put that under healthcare. Thrift store, clothing, and you keep going using all the categories that you see here, making sure that as you enter these, you should be seeing the numbers being picked up under the appropriate category. How does that work? Well, in this cell it says, by clicking on the cell you can see what it refers to. It says if cell E19, in this case dining, is equal to the column heading dining, give me the content from cell D19, which is the total. So you can see here that it's simply for all the 3 dining transactions, it's copied them across. For the healthcare transaction, it's put it under the column healthcare. For the clothing transaction, it's put it under the column clothing. And you continue to do this until you have all your categories selected. In step 4, you're going to total spending by category of expense using a sum function. I'm going to show you how to go into your Excel file under transactions and calculate the totals for each category by summing across the column, keeping in mind that you're only going to sum the transactions that happen within a given month, in this case September. Now that I have all the categories allocated, as I can see in column E, I need to sum up for each column by month by going up into the appropriate month. These are transactions from September, and I'm going to use the sum function. I can click on the function here on the top left, FX, and a dialog box will pull up. I can search for the function I would like to have, and double click on it, and I get this dialog box. It says, what numbers do you want me to sum? I'm going to go to the top column, and holding the Shift key, I'm going to go all the way to the bottom of the column. We don't have to enter number 2 because we're only summing one set of continuous numbers from rows 13 to 61 in column F. I hit OK. You can see that it's picked up the total. Double clicking on the cell, we can see what's being included. You can see that the blue box shows me that I've got all the column. Now that I have that correctly working for column F, I'm simply going to drag it across across so that the formula will, which is a relative formula, will work for the remaining columns. I just go to the bottom right corner of the box where you see the green box, and when I'm over the corner it will be a plus, and I just drag it across to the end. You can see here by double clicking that I'm getting all the appropriate cells. You can also see that I've created a sum here that will sum up all of the spending across all the different categories. If I go to column D again, you'll see that I've got the total of all the transactions below, and these two numbers are the same. The final step, step 5, is to get all your transactions into this summary, which is worksheet 2 spending. You can see here that we're going to end with all the totals for the month of September allocated across 3 categories: tuition, books, and education, non-discretionary or fixed expenses, and discretionary or variable expenses, with a total of spending of around $3,700 in the month of September. Here we have our transactions that have been categorized by column. We've summed for the month of September, and now we need to get these totals from worksheet 1 transactions to worksheet 2 spending. We could copy and paste the numbers, but I prefer to use a formula. Going to the spending worksheet, you can see the first example of how I was able to link it. Here I'm linking tuition and fees for September to worksheet 1 transactions, cell F2. You can see it's $2,200 roughly, which is this total here in F2. Now how did I do that? In September, I hit the equals sign, and I simply go to the category that I want, in this case shelter. I select it and I hit enter. It's very straightforward to simply do this for each of the columns. You just have to make sure that you're getting the correct cell that you're referring to it, and that you don't make any mistakes. In a moment I'm going to show you how to confirm that you've got the correct cells. There you can see I made one mistake. We'll see that in a second. So here it's not obvious if I've made mistakes or not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to check the formulas to make sure they make sense. The way to do that is for Excel to show you the formulas behind the cell contents. You hold down the Control key and the tilde, which is the very top left, under the Escape key. We see in these cells the formulas that have been used. They should go consecutively: I, J, K, L, M, N. You can see here I've got the cell P referred to twice. That's a mistake. I have to put the letter O here for the correct cell. I hit Control tilde again to show the contents. Okay. You can see it refers to cell O2, which is this cell here. For the remaining cells, Control tilde, you can see Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z, and AA. Here we have all of our spending for the month of September by category, and it totals to $3,639. Once you do this for each month, you will be able to see the patterns in your spending, as well as to calculate the monthly average in order to see whether you are spending more or less in a given month. Good luck with tracking your spending.